Hello everyone, Hamster here and welcome to another challenge video. Today we're going to find out if we can beat the hardest bosses in Fallout New Vegas with just Dynamite. So for the rules, I can only use Dynamite. I start off max level with all perks allowed. I can use all consumables and ammo types, no glitches or exploits allowed, and I'm using the J Sawyer mod with very hard difficulty enabled. So, for the character build, we're going with a high strength, endurance and agility character, since luck doesn't really affect explosives like criticals. You can't really get explosive, critical attacks. So, obviously this is an explosive build, so we're using pretty much every perk that will give you damage for the Dynamite. We're using Cowboy perk as well. That actually increases the damage by 20%, so that's pretty cool. And pretty much usual, we've got all the explosive sort of type perks. We've got Thought You Died perk, which gives me more HP, so keep me alive for a bit longer. And you can see here, I got 126 damage with the Dynamites, which is not bad. And I'm using the same gear setup as my last video, with the baseball bat one. So pretty much the same gear, Remnants, power armor, and then this sort of headgear I've got. And same with chems, pretty much the same sort of assortment of chems, pretty much every sort of most powerful chem in the game. Okay, so now it's time to spin the wheel. Let's see what we get first. Ooh. Fire, legendary fire gecko. Wow, this is going to be an exciting one. Fight fire with fire. And then we've got Specimen 73. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is like a unique Cazador from Old World Blues. And then we got... Patient Zero. Oh no. Another Old World Blues. Ooh. And then... Stripe. That's going to be interesting. Now, Stripe is like a unique Deathclaw from the Wild Wasteland perk. And last, we've got Motor Runner. Oh yeah. That's going to be interesting. And that's it, that's our 5 bosses to fight. So first up, I'm taking out Motor Runner. So I've arrived at the gates of the lair of the Fiends. And this is probably the hardest part because there's so many of them just sort of like swarm into you. And this Dynamite is so unpredictable, like you just throw it and it just goes wherever the heck it wants. And I find I'm actually damaging myself more than the enemies as well, because blast radius is just massive. I think it's because of all the perks I've got, like the J Sawyer mod, the Demolition Expert only gives it 10% damage, but it increases the blast radius by like 10%, so that means it's got 20% more blast radius than in the base game, but less damage. So I actually think maybe this is worse for me, because it's giving me like, I'm taking more damage than I would normally. But still, it still comes in quite useful when I use it in VATS. You can see it's quite good. Sort of getting the enemies. So I use VATS quite a lot in this run as well. It comes in really handy. I did get a few VATS perk like Concentrated Fire, and another one that gives it like 15% more damage when you hit the torso or something. Can't remember the name of it, but that's also a pretty useful perk. Now this is the thing, the Fiends, this is not the weapon to be fighting inside of a vault. Dynamite, explosives and like tight corridors do not mix. And you can see how awkward it is, because I can't throw this stuff properly in VATS. It's like it doesn't like go high enough, and I end up like taking more damage myself than the enemies are dealing to me, if you know what I mean. Like, and also when I'm throwing the Dynamite, if I throw it mid-air when one blows up, that's it's already on the floor. It actually blows up the Dynamite in my hand as well, so I'm like blasting myself in my face. It's just mad. And this place is just full of Fiends. It's just flipping everywhere. They come out of every little like nook and cranny of this place. I can't believe I can't remember them being so many. And you see that I'm like blowing myself up as well. Like I throw it in it because the other one detonates. That is mad. And also there's the pin flame. One with the flamer just like appears out of nowhere. It scared me shitless. Now I also find Fiends to be quite creepy as well. Like they always have these weird like dialogues that they sort of say in combat. It's probably because they're all juiced up on chems. But like fighting these guys in a voice, it's quite creepy, really. Now, see, I'm at the motor runners, sort of on the way to the motor runner now. I'm not far off. It's just these sort of goons to take out in the sort of entrance area. And you see how awkward. Luckily, I can manage to hide behind these like mainframe things. It's quite good. Stops the from getting damaged. Here we are, the motor runner. This is our first attempt, so this actually quite creepy, this bit, because he's like running at me like a chainsaw. And you like running, you know, chainsaw running in the background. You know, this is kind of something out of like a horror movie. And it's just too close for me to like get any like hits on him. So I just can't like, you know, take him out without taking loads of damage. So I end up just blowing myself up. But the second time I managed to get him quite a few damage from a distance. And he didn't sort of get close to me, luckily. Managed to, I think I knocked him, I knocked him down on the floor or something, and then, you know, pretty easy to finish off then. And I thought I'd finish it off with a nice VAT cinematic kill. And what's funny, you can see sometimes the dynamite, when you throw it in VATs, it like whirls around and it sticks to their bodies. I don't know why. It's just a bit like messed up, like glitched up, this weapon. And there's the last goon to take out. And now there's a motor runner defeated. Also decided to get myself a nice trophy. His helmet. It certainly makes me look the part. So next up we're doing legendary fire gecko. And these are actually quite annoying, these geckos, because they run really fast. They like can easily catch up with you. So with like an explosive weapon, these are an absolute pain to fight. And you see, what happens is I take this guy out and then like, whoa, he's like one right in front of me. Like, oh, that scared the shit out of me. It just runs so fast. You just literally like you blink for a second and they're like right in your face. But luckily, you can see this one here. I've crippled him. So like once their legs are crippled, they can barely move. They're like death claws. They can like hardly move at all when they're crippled. So there's just a few outside to take out before I get to the lair of the legendary fire gecko. I actually found the ones outside to be more of a pain than the ones inside, mainly because I can sneak up on the ones inside. And obviously there's quite a few as well outside. The problem is once they catch up with you, it's really awkward to take them out because you've got to like throw the dynamite on the floor, like run away. But once they get crippled, their legs, they just slow down, so it makes it a lot better. You can see they walk like it's so slow. Yeah, you can see that is a much easier way to fight them basically. Okay, now to the lair of the legendary fire gecko. This is Fire Root Cavern for anyone who's interested in fighting this boss. And there's quite a few of them in here. Once you get in here, there's like a big sort of entrance area with loads of them in that cavern area, and there's probably like 5 or 6 in there. And I just utilise my VATs to get rid of most of them. So luckily I'm like sort of on this ledge, so they can't get to me that easily. So most of them I pretty much take them all out before they even can come up here. And here's the legendary fire. I didn't realise at first that it was a legendary, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to like just fight him like a pussy up here. I want to like go down and face him like a man. So here we go, I'm gonna like fucking one-on-one right in front of him. So I toss a load of dynamite in his mouth, I shove it in his mouth. I'm gonna eat dynamite. There we go, legendary fire gecko defeated. Now that was actually quite an easy one, to be fair. I also decided, you know, I'm going to take the hide and the meat. I thought I was going to eat the meat of my enemies, gain the power. The legendary fire gecko. So we're now in the Old World Blues DLC on the way to fight Patient Zero. Now, actually these robots are quite a pain to fighting these. There's sort of quite a few of these to fight in the way to the Patient Zero. But actually, explosive do quite a bit of damage against robots, which is pretty good. So eventually I take out this robot, and there's also a few more just down the ridge as well. Like there's two of them as well, like in the same position. I don't know if that's like a glitch or something. We like spawned in two in one place, I don't know, it's a bit weird. But nevertheless, I easily take them out with my dynamite. It does the short work of these Mr. Gutsies. And then here is where the patient zero is, so it's like, it's weird because they sort of like appear in the ground. So I didn't know where they were at first. I thought, oh, there's a spore plant, I'll take this out. But then it's like they sort of appear from nowhere and just like slap me in the face. I'm like, oh god, like, what the heck? And he gets like stuck in the wall as well for some reason. I don't know how that happened. It's like just like completely glitched inside the little like mountain thing there, the rock formations. Thought I'd take this guy out first, the other one. It's a bit awkward because these are actually quite, they can move quite fast, these spore carriers. But once you cripple them, obviously, it's a lot easier to take out. And then Patient Zero, I managed to free him from the mountain with console commands, and then easily take him out, cripple him sort of like on the floor, and then just VATS. You know, a few VATS attacks finishes him off. Yeah, it's a bit weird, he's got like this black blood sausage. I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm not touching this thing. Okay, next up we're fighting Specimen 73. Now this one was the hardest out of all of them. This is like a unique Cazador boss from the All Blues DLC, so this is actually more powerful than the legendary Cazador as well. Has more health and it hits harder, I think, as well. And literally there's also these Cazadors sort of on the way as well, which I thought even these were a bit of a pain because it's like close quarters with explosives that don't mix well. And they're really quick as well, Cazadors. They really catch up to you real quick. And you can see it's so awkward inside this tight sort of corridors to take these out. But eventually I managed to get rid of these Cazadors. A bit of running about. I then put myself full of chems, get a stealth boy, and I'm ready for Specimen 73. This one, it's weird, he like sort of like ran out past me. I think the stealth boy must have like not seen me. But you can see how quick Specimen 73 is. It was really quick, this Cazador. Just like really catches up to you so quickly. You can see you're doing quite a bit of damage against me as well. And considering I've got like all the chems, I've got damage resistance of like 85 with all the chems and damage threshold of 50, and this guy is still like hitting through all of that. Doing a huge amount of damage. And you can just see how awkward it is to like damage him as well, this Cazador. Okay, so I finished the Specimen 73 off with a nice juicy cinematic VATS kill. As you can see, Specimen 73 is defeated. And I get the unique DNA Avenger perk, so this is like 10% damage against Cazadors, which is pretty good. And he's also got an atomic valance as well, the thing that I've already got on my head, so it's quite good. So on my way to Higgs Village, I get swarmed by some lobotomites. They sort of do a stealth attack on me. A bit of an ambush. But I managed to deal with these goons. You can see I'm getting a good amount of damage against them from this dynamite. It's just the ones with melee weapons, this sort of, I don't want them to get close to me because otherwise I'm going to take a lot of damage from my dynamite. See, these ranged ones are a lot easier to deal with. But also it's still awkward, you see dynamite, it sort of like bounces off things as well, like it just sort of like goes in random directions when you don't use VATS. So I end up, I get a bit frustrated, I decide, okay, I'm going to use some VATS. So that's why you've got to use VATS with this dynamite, because it makes it a lot more accurate. So now we're inside Higgs Village. So Stripe is like a unique Wild Wasteland boss. So it's actually quite, it's like a really like small Deathclaw. It's quite tough actually though, so you've got to be, you've got to be careful. Like, this can surprise a lot of people because he hits really hard, like the damage. He's got like the same amount of health and damage as like a legendary Deathclaw. So you've got to be careful. And also he doesn't spawn until you get close as well. So a lot of people might be like, what's this? And then it's like, bam, he just like appears out of nowhere. But you can see he's quite slow because he's small. And you can easily dodge his attacks as well. But his attacks do a lot of damage, so you've got to be careful. But also he doesn't go that far out as well. He sort of, once he gets to like the fountain, he sort of like goes back to his cage. And I've crippled his leg as well, so he's even like slower now. I feel a bit sorry for him because I thought it'd be a bit more of a challenge, you know. And also I decided to have a quick look in his house while he's crippled. There's like a chicken leg in here. I'm like, what the hell? But this was a huge mistake because I'm pretty much close quarters with him, and look how he like absolutely slaps the shit out of me. So, to my stupidity, I lost the first attempt against him. But obviously, he's not hard to take out. Second attempt, you know, once I literally crippled his legs, and he can barely move. I do feel sorry for him though. I'd love to have like Stripe as more like a companion in this game. It'd be so cool. And a few VATS kills does the job. And he's like 1 HP left or something. And here we go, this is it, the finishing blow. Bam, defeated. Deathclaw Hunter Pro or something. I got like 2 challenge things in. Pretty cool. And that's it. Stripe is defeated. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this challenge video. If you have any suggestions for some challenge ideas, please comment below and make sure to stay tuned for the next one.